Okay, court is in session and calls number 328-978. Case is style of state of Texas versus Quentin John Daigle.
Yes, sir, that's me.
We have Mr. Daigle appearing via Zoom. Mr. Daigle, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Daigle, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir, I'll tell the whole truth, I'll tell the real truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Okay, Mr. Daigle, would you please you can put your hands down. Mr. Daigle, how are you doing?
I'm okay.
That's good. Mr. Daigle, you're here represented by your attorney, Attorney John West. Attorney West, do you waive a record in Mr. Daigle's case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Daigle, I have before me an information that was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. This information alleges that on or about January 13th of 2021, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 2A. Mr. Daigle, do you understand what you have been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And
I can't have it no more.
All right, Mr. Daigle, to this charge, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Yes, sir. Guilty.
Guilty. Now, are you
Sir.
pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Daigle, I have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. On page 2 of this document, which is State's Exhibit number 1, there are a set of initials, QD, on a line that is next to a box that says check guilty. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of this same document, there is a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Did you also sign this document?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document, which is titled trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, there's a signature at the bottom of this document as well. Did you sign this document?
Yes, sir.
At the top of this same document, there are 2 boxes that are checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Daigle, okay. The second box that's checked states that you are waiving your right to an appeal, which means you are giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Daigle, did you sign a document out there on paper that is titled discovery certification?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Daigle, before you sign and initial all of these documents that I have just mentioned, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes.
And did
Yes,
you
sir.
read it and did you read and understand everything that he went over?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Daigle, I will accept your plea. Well, Mr. Daigle, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
Okay. State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1?
Yes, Chair. State offer states 1.
No objection.
No objection. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. West, you've advised and counsel Mr. Daigle. Is there any evidence that he's currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Daigle, your attorney, Mr. West, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation? Mr. Daigle, are you satisfied with Mr. West's representation of you?
Yes, sir. I didn't understand what you were saying. I appreciate you for repeating yourself.
Okay. Now, Mr. Mr. Daigle, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers was freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
In exchange for the defendant's plea of guilty in this case, we're recommending confinement in the Jefferson County Jail for a period of 30 days. We're asking that the court gives the defendant credit for the 30 days that he's already served in jail, essentially making this a time served deal. As it relates to the court costs, we're asking that the court tax and retire the defendant's court costs based on that time that he's already served.
Okay, Mr. Daigle, the state is offering that you serve 30 days in the Jefferson County Jail, but you will not have to serve any more time in the Jefferson County Jail because you've already served 30 days in the Jefferson County Jail. Therefore, you'll be given credit for time served. The court cost in this case, Mr. Daigle, is $327, but you would not have to pay the $327 because the time that you spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, the court cost will be taxed and retired. Mr. Daigle, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
It's extremely generous compared to the last thing that happened to me here.
Okay, now, Mr. Daigle, do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm very, very grateful for this, and I assure you this won't be a problem in the future.
Okay. Now, Mr. Daigle, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Daigle, please knock on the door and follow the bailiff. You have a blessed day. If you don't have anything else holding you in, you should be getting out
Yes,
today.
sir. Thank you guys very much. Y'all have a good day as well.
All right. Ken Thomas and Mr. West, this is your last case. You're free to go. And you have a blessed day.
Thank you.
All right. Ken Thomas. Ken Thomas.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is cause number 329442 and cause number 332480. Both cases are styled the state of Texas versus Ken Derrick Thomas. Mr. Thomas, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Thomas, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Mr. Thomas, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Thomas?
I'm doing all right.
That's good, Mr. Thomas. You're here with your attorney. Your attorney is Attorney Ryan Matuska. Attorney Matuska, how are you doing?
Warrior.
Good morning. Now, Mr. Matuska, do you waive a record in Mr. Thomas's cases?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Mr. Thomas, I have before me a document that is in cause number 329442. This document is titled Information. This information alleges that on or about February 12th of 2021, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed to Class A misdemeanor offense of evading arrest. Mr. Thomas, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Thomas, how do you plead? Guilty,
Yes.
not guilty, no contest. Now, you're pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Thomas, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment, which is State's Exhibit number 1. And on this document, Mr. Thomas, on page 2, there are a set of initials, KT, on a line that's next to a box that says check guilty. Mr. Thomas, did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
And on page 3 of this same document, Mr. Thomas, there's a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Mr. Thomas, did you also sign this document?
Yes, sir.
On the next document, Mr. Thomas, this document is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. There is a signature at the bottom of this document above the line that is titled Defendant. Mr. Thomas, did you also sign this document?
Yes, sir.
At the top of this same document, Mr. Thomas, there are 2 boxes that are checked. The first box that is checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Thomas, did you sign a document out there on paper that is titled Discovery Certification?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Thomas, before you sign and initial all of these documents that I've just mentioned, did your attorney, Mr. Matuska, go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything that Mr. Matuska went over?
Yes, sir, I understood.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Thomas, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1. State, you like to offer States 1?
Yes, Judge. State offer states one.
No
Any
objection.
objections? No objection. State's Exhibit 1 will be admitted. Mr. Matuska, you've advised and counseled Mr. Thomas. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, sir, Your Honor.
And Mr. Thomas, your attorney, Mr. Matuska, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Thomas, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
In exchange for the defendant's plea of guilty, in this case, we're recommending confinement in the Jefferson County Jail for a period of 90 days. We're asking that the defendant be given credit for any time that he's legally entitled to. Also, as part of this agreement, we're agreeing to dismiss pursuant to Chapter 1245 of the Texas Penal Code, the companion case that appears in cause number 332480, which is a failed to ID case, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Thomas, the state is offering that you serve 90 days in the Jefferson County Jail. You will be given credit for any time that you are entitled to get by law. The court cost in this case, Mr. Thomas, is $327. Mr. Thomas, will you be able to pay the $327 court cost?
No, sir.
Okay, Mr. Thomas, I have before me a document that is titled Affidavit of Indigence. It has your name on it. And this document contains your monthly income and assets, and it also contains your monthly expenses. And this document was signed by Judge Hughes on April 17 of 2022. Is everything on these documents still true and correct to today?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Thomas, based on this information on this affidavit, the court is going to find that you are indigent, and based on that finding of indigency, the court cost of $327 in this case is going to be waived pursuant to Article 42.15 of Texas Code of Criminal Procedure. Mr. Thomas, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And also, Mr. Thomas, the state will be dismissing cause number 332480. Now, do you understand the state's offer?
Correct. I do, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir, I do.
Mr. Thomas, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Thomas, this will conclude your case. Mr. Thomas, please knock on the door and follow the bailiff, and you have a blessed day.
All right, you have a blessed day too, all y'all.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Matuska, this will conclude your cases. You're free to go, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, now, Mr. Bailiff,
Yes, sir.
hold on a minute. We got David Grove.
Mr. Perazzo, Mr. Grove.
Yeah, did you, y'all have Mr. Grove is here in court.
Okay.
Did y'all pull his client?
Yes, sir. So we're just waiting for Ms. Perazzo and Mr. Macy. So,
Okay, now, Mr. Grove, hold on a minute. Let me do this here.